Welcome, everyone, back to another night of the Spark Writing Festival. So I am delighted to share the screen tonight with Brian Voice Porter Hawkins. So known mostly as Voice Porter, is a community development consultant, writer, poet, actor, gardener, and orator that believes in a community's strengths lie in the minds of the creatives. Brian is vice president of We Are Rtists, an organization that facilitates collaboration between artists and seeks to educate artists in the business of art. Creative director of both Bards Brews, a monthly poetry event, and beer tasting with the Birmingham Public Library system, and On Stage at the Carver, the longest running poetry open mic in Alabama. He has been a presenter at the University of Massachusetts Center for Health, Equity, Intervention Research, Synthesis, Engagement, and Elevation Disparities, Symposium, and worked with CHEIR to craft new competencies for health equity intervention researches, and is one of the co-founders of WordSpeak Literary Entertainment, a nonprofit organization that uses writers and actors to enrich the lives of underprivileged children. As director of the Color Project Ensley, Brian seeks to transform a neglected part of our community into a place overflowing with beauty and warmth. The Color Project Ensley addresses the social, mental, and physical health of the people of Ensley with public art, creative placemaking, performance art, and urban planning. Brian works to ensure that the voices of the people of Ensley are heard in a constructive and positive atmosphere. Brian believes that change only comes when people are motivated, and motivation often comes from your surroundings. So Brian, the Color Project Ensley, intended to surround the people of Ensley with enough art and technology that change comes effortlessly. All right, welcome, Brian, Voice Porter Hawkins. So Voice, go ahead and take it over, man.
Thank you so very much. Thank you much. I'm Voice Porter. I am a free voice, and I'm happy to have you all here with me this evening. So, as you can tell, I wear a lot of hats. I do a lot of different things, and not almost everything I do, I use creativity to do it. Like, I have not been in anybody's office or anything like that in many, many years. Like, I have so thankfully been able to just be a creative soul out here in this universe. So tonight, during this workshop, what I would like to I was going to say send you home with, but I think you're probably already at home, right? What I'd like to leave in your home with you is being able to use your passion, to be able to use your passion to express yourself, to be able to take things that you are passionate about, and sometimes things you're passionate about aren't always like happy things. Sometimes we're really passionate about like social justice, and so that can take a lot out of us. Sometimes we are passionate about maybe prison reform or politics, things that aren't necessarily a happy thing to be passionate about, but things that are very important to be passionate about. So what I'd like for you to do tonight is, just kind of roll with me. This is a very casual workshop. I hope that you guys are prepared to do some writing and possibly some speaking. I'm not going to pressure anybody to say anything, but when time comes, and if you are wanting to, we'd like for you to share. So I'd like to start off with a very short exercise. Excuse me. I want you to think about the thing that you are most passionate about. And if you're very passionate about a lot of things, just kind of reach out into the air and pluck one out, right? One of the things that you're most passionate about, right? Write that thing down on a page, whatever that may be. Write down on the page what you're passionate about. After you've written the thing that you're passionate about, I want you to write a small description of it without using any of the words that name your passion. So if you love to play video games, your description should not have the words video games in it. We'll take 2 minutes or so to do that. Let's see, some of us are still writing. You continue writing. I'm going to share with you the one that I jotted down. And what I said is that I am forced replicating naturally occurring entities to better serve the health and well-being of humankind. Anyone want to take a guess at what that is?
Gardening.
Yep, that is it. Exactly. Gardening is it. So this exercise, and I feel like I should have said this at the top of the exercise. So I am, amongst all kinds of other art forms, a spoken word poet. I've been doing spoken word poetry for about 20 years now. And a lot of the basis of spoken word poetry is the ability to describe things so that people will understand what you're saying and get an idea of it without saying the thing directly. Right? I think some of the best spoken word poets in this world, this country, are able to do that. Are able to make descriptions of things without saying the name of things and having you go home with an understanding, a really good understanding of what was just talked about. Also, in spoken word, spoken word poetry is a real, I don't think of it as a child of oratory storytelling. I think spoken word poetry and oratory storytelling, like kind of the Southern tradition and the African tradition of storytelling, are all interrelated, all essentially from the same space, birth all of it. And in the storytelling traditions, especially in the African and the Southern storytelling tradition, hyperbole is king. Hyperbole is king. Like, the more you can use it, the better off you are. So this first exercise, taking a thing that you're passionate about and writing a descriptor of it without using the key words that that name that passion, is a part of this storytelling legacy that we have here in the Southeast. And it is a part of this ability to take a mundane thing, could be mundane for someone else, not for you because you're passionate about it, but taking a thing that could be commonplace for someone else and making it spectacular. So if I could get maybe just 2 or 3 people to share your descriptor.
I have one.
Fantastic.
It says, my heart split 7 times, each piece traveling through me and out of me and into the larger world where it became harder to protect and more difficult to nourish. These pieces of my heart now spread across the country, tug at my own, and when they ache, I feel the pain like phantom limbs and search for healing balm.
So Jan, can I take a guess?
Yeah.
So these are your 7 children?
They are indeed.
Fantastic. That was a great descriptor. That was great.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to share?
I'll try, and this is similar. Closeness and bonding, like puppies in a box, that grew to mutual independence. But the tide and surge of life caused us to flow back together. The amazement that as I look into identical blue eyes, the soul looking back is as unique as a snowflake.
So I'm going to say your child too. Right? No, not a child?
Close. I'm the oldest of 12.
Oh, so your siblings. All right. Did we have one more person that was willing to share? All right. Excuse me. So what we're going to do here tonight is we're going to hopefully create something that will stand up to both the reader and the listener. There's a lot of times we write for one or the other and not for both. And it is not easy, but we're going to do it tonight, all right? So we're going to do this exercise one more time. Now that we have a great understanding of what we're doing, I want you to think of something that you are absolutely not passionate about. I mean, something that you want to avoid at all costs. Whatever that thing may be, something that you just absolutely have to say, yeah, no to that. All right. Take that thing, write it down, and then write a descriptor of it that does not use the words that name that thing. We'll take about 3 minutes to do that. Okay, how you guys doing? Some thumbs up. Great. All right. So I'll share first, and I'll ask if anyone else would like to share. And this one seemed to be a little more difficult for me because the thing that I don't like to do, I don't like to do. I don't even like to talk about. I don't like to write about it. Like, it's crazy. So here goes. Putting marks into space not designed for my hand, slashing and looping for others' eyes and remembrance, placing myself, my wants, my dreams into two-dimensional space. Anybody want to guess?
And do you not like New Year's resolutions?
I like New Year's resolutions. I do. But what I don't like is paperwork. I absolutely hate paperwork. the worst thing on the planet. It's it just edges out washing dishes. Like I don't like washing dishes. Like just put them in the dishwasher. And if something's stuck on it later, put it back in the dishwasher. All right, that's how I feel about it. Would anyone else like to share with us what you wrote?
I'll share. The shape has been outlined, cleverly or uncleverly designed, for me to follow the lines and turn it whole.
Is it
Follow
connected?
the lines.
It is not connect the dots.
Follow the line and turn it whole.
I want to say math, but I feel like I'm wrong.
It's not math. I actually like math, especially algebra, because it's fun for me to pick up a concrete number. It's kind of an obscure one.
All right, go ahead and tell us.
It is folding boxes.
Folding? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a lot of jobs where we had to fold boxes for stuff because I've worked in a lot of restaurants. So you have to fold up like the bread boxes and the pizza boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, it's one of the tasks I dread.
I got you. Okay. Fantastic. I don't know if I don't know if I ever would have gotten there.
Yeah, I mean, you only have to fold a bunch of boxes in like a specific situation. But yeah, when I worked at like a bakery, like Christmas time, you have to fold like 1,000 cake boxes, like a day, and it was horrible.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to share with us?
I'd like to share something if nobody else wants to.
Okay, thank you, Lori.
Okay. Hands shaking, ears ringing, eardrums bursting, despite cotton stuffed inside them, learning to pull back while my eyes narrow and squint to focus on a tiny point so I can be safe. I throw it down, turn it on its side, hand it back, refusing to learn, refusing one, even if it's pink, to cater to me, a lady.
Shooting a gun?
That's exactly it.
Yeah, yeah. That was good. That was good.
Thank you.
All right, can we get one more?
I got you on voice.
Oh. Okay.
All right. The hot steel lip takes out the memory of the day, of the closet's jungled closeness. Like icing a cake, each pass runs a smooth stretch of fabric, but wrinkles my worry.
Is this about ironing clothes?
Yeah.
Not you.
I mean, if it doesn't
You're never wrinkled.
tumble dry, ready to wear, I ain't having it.
Okay. All right. Let's see. We got one in the chat from Sophia. To cancel the emanator due to what precedes, must I dismiss the spark twisted by dark environs? Rather, would I share light and warmth, hoping the spark will find its own path? So it sounds like starting fires, like getting out with the whatever tools or flint or fire starter and starting fires. I hate arguing, which in its own way is like starting a fire, right? They call it a hot and heated argument. Hate arguing. All right, fantastic. Excuse me. All right, so here is the rub. I have tricked you guys into writing two things that seem to be polar opposites of each other, but they are not opposites of each other, because you are passionate about both things on the extreme ends of passion. One is a positive passion, one is a negative passion. They're not opposites of each other, but two sides of the same coin, essentially. They are a part of each other. They are all about passion. It is all about either something that you absolutely with your whole heart want to do or do, and something that you absolutely with your whole heart do not want to do. So the opposite of both of those would indeed just be I'm losing words here. Like I had a whole word in my mind and it just fluttered away. But the opposite of your passion would be apathy. The word that I was looking for there would be apathy. Would just be, it doesn't matter one way or the other, right? So what I'd like for us to do is to take one of our descriptors, the first one or the second one, and we're going to rework it. And we want to make it what I like to call less poetic and more conversational. And so we want to write this as if we are trying to explain it to someone more so than writing a poem about it, right? How would you explain this to a person? The thing you're passionate about positively or the thing you're passionate about negatively? How would you explain this to a person? Not on paper, but if they were sitting in front of you, what would you say to them that does not use the name of the passion? What would you say to them in order to get your point across? How would you say that? So we're going to take about 5 minutes now to write down a response. I do believe we have come to our 5-minute mark. If you are still writing, please continue to write. And I will share what I have. I can pour word almost as joy. And box pages and all sparks of creativity leave me. Can you guys tell I really don't like paperwork? Like, I don't like it at all. It is the bane of my existence. All right. Is there anyone else who would like to share?
I can share. It's just the nature of reality. It's feet on the ground and head in the clouds. It's turning left instead of right. It's breathing in until it's time to breathe out. It's always there, so who really cares?
Just breathing in. Curious. Trying to figure this one out, man.
Well, it'll be funny when we get to the great reveal, because actually this whole exercise was like kind of complicated. Meditation's kind of a good, that tracks, yeah, that's in the sphere.
Yoga?
Also kind of like adjacent.
Okay. Pilates?
Also adjacent.
Also
maybe
adjacent,
further away.
Okay.
So my first thought was sleep.
Ooh.
You know, but
I do like sleep. So it's, yeah, meditation, mindfulness, yoga, all close, but specifically Tai Chi is my little niche. And that's made this whole thing about like the passion thing, like the negative positive passion was like, I was tripping myself up trying to be like, am I being non-passionate enough in writing? Anyways.
Yeah, no, and that is when I said I tricked you, because it is not about writing about something that you're not passionate about. It's writing about something that you're passionate about not doing. Right? Like, there's still great passion in avoidance of things sometimes. Like sometimes the most work we do all day is avoiding work. Right? I'm sure everybody here has avoided work. And when you thought about it, you were like, man, with all the stuff I did, I really could have just knocked that little work out. I'll do it tomorrow. All right. Would anyone else like to share? Thank you, Richard.
I'll read.
You go ahead.
Oh, okay. A stranger tightens your chin strap and clicks the harness before you take your first step. Sweaty hands cling to taut lines overhead while feet slide across sinews of hemp. Leaves rustle in trees, but eyes focus ahead. Breathing becomes more and more shallow. You find yourself swaying between two wooden rectangles nailed to two poles.
Ziplining.
Zip lining or ropes course. I'm terrified of heights, and everybody, including my family, always wants me to go zip lining or do ropes courses or do things that terrify me. I've done it once or twice in my youth, and that was enough. So.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Do we have anyone else who would like to share?
I have one. It's and unstable connections that will almost always come home to roost as user error. This is not a land for the living. It is impersonal, implacable, as cold as the far side of the moon. And though I use it daily, I resent my dependence on something that cares not at all how successful I am in its use.
So, are we talking about your computer, or are we talking about like Zoom?
It is my computer for sure.
That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. All right. So I think we are what we're building here is we're building our way towards presenting a spoken word poem, or better yet, just presenting. Right. I think a lot of people think about presentations as being like really formal things. And I've seen people give presentations where they try to speak as formally as they possibly can, and very rigid. And like I said at the beginning of this is a very casual workshop. I want you to feel loose and casual in this space. This is not a space of judgment or anything like that. Like we're not here to even critique each other's works tonight. Tonight is about finding your space and your passion and creating from it. And we can always go back and edit later. We can ask each other to help critique, offline. But right now, I just want you guys to get into your bag, right? Get in your bag, like get into your own space, your own head, the things that you are loving and hating right now. And let's present these things to other people. And so when I said earlier that spoken word and this oratory storytelling is a lot about hyperbole. It's a lot about making things bigger than they actually are, right? Making things much more wild than they actually are, or much more subdued than they actually are, which is kind of one of my favorite things, to talk about things in a way that people go, oh, well, that's nothing. And then when they see the thing, they're like, oh my God, that is much more than I thought it would be. So what we want to do is go back to our writings and take a moment to just read over what you've written. Just take a moment, read over what you've written, and figure out with yourself, if someone else was saying this to you, not reading it, if someone else was saying this to you, how would that make you feel? What would that sound like to you? Would your words on your page here, would they sound very formal? Would they sound like they're supposed to be read? Or would it sound like a conversation? Is there any point in there where someone with an opposing view can interject and not kill the flow of what you've written? If there is such a point, or are such points, what are those opposing views? And can you at once write into your passion, whether it is a passionate thing that you love positively or hate negatively, can you write in the opposing view? this is much more of a devil's advocate kind of presentation. And I'm asking you to do this because in presentations, in conversation, in presenting spoken word, or even when writing plays, it's really a good thing to already know what the pushback might be on the thing that you're saying, so that you can address that pushback before you're pushed. All right. That makes for some of the best orators that you've probably ever listened to will say some things and you'll have questions in your head, and then right before you really truly form those questions, they start answering those questions. All right. They start talking about the thing that you were going to want to ask about anyway. So I want you to take one of these, the positive or the negative. And I'm going to say, let's cheat a little bit and let's do the last one we did. Whatever it was, the positive or negative, the last one that we rewrote has more substance now than our first draft of it. So let's take this last thing we wrote. I want to read it back to ourselves. Like go ahead and turn your mics off, read it out loud to yourself, see what it sounds like in your ear, not just what it looks like to your eyes. Because we're not here for perfect grammar. We are here for conversation. So what does it sound like when you read it back to yourself? And if you were listening to someone say this, where are the natural points where you might interject with an opposing opinion? Let's say, Professor Cotton, how much time do I have?
You've got time. I mean, we're 4 minutes to the top of the hour, but if you go over, ain't nobody gonna hurt for it.
Okay. Thank you very much. So I wanted to say we would take 5 minutes. 5 minutes will put us over our time. And if you have somewhere that you need to run off to, please don't hesitate. Go ahead and do the important things in life. You know, I've noticed there are some people here who probably need to eat. If you need to eat, then you go and do your thing, or just turn your camera off and slap it down. All right. So we'll take about 5 minutes, and we'll be back in 5 minutes. Okay, we are at our 5-minute mark. So I have to apologize to you guys. Like, through this whole exercise, I've written and shared first, but I will not be sharing first this time. Right? So my house got really quiet. I have 2 little boys. I have 2 sons. They got really quiet, so I had to go see what they were doing, and they were having unauthorized cake. So it became authorized cake. But that is what I was doing while you guys are writing. So I will not be sharing first. All right. Unauthorized cake does taste best. I'm sure it does. Yes. Yes, yes. I mean, you know, it's gotta taste great if you're willing to get in trouble for it, right? And that's a passion of theirs, eating unauthorized cake. All right, so who would like to share with us first? Is there anyone who would like to share?
I won't reread the whole piece I had about the computer because I know it's a little bit longer, but I did add in the middle, after I said it's not a land for the living, I added, and yet we live here, all of us, connected through devices that open doors a global pandemic has slammed shut. Thanks are appropriate, even if face-to-face meetings carry all the sensory gratification of being kissed through a screen door. It's better than isolation, you say, and it is, but it is the people who make it so. The machine itself is impersonal, implacable, and then I go back to railing against computers.
That is fantastic. That's fantastic. I like it. You have written a proper spoken word piece. Very much so. Would anyone else like to share with us? Thank you, Jan.
I have one.
Okay.
Approach the stage with an open mind. The plan really is to improvise, to let the parts tell you what they want. Arrange them, consider their shape, their density, their individual characters, then combine them with heat, teasing out the sweetness, building texture. Inhale, it's important.
I like it. It evokes some feeling of like longing.
For chocolate cake?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, and it was chocolate cake too. Yes, that's what the boy was eating. Yeah, and so what is it? Is it about chocolate cake?
About cooking.
It's about cooking. It's about cooking chocolate cake. That's what it's about.
Or cooking.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Another right proper spoken word piece. And so with your poem here, and we don't have time to go through a whole bunch of stuff, but your poem does, at least to me, provide me with a feeling of longing, and it is almost sensual, the longing, your poem about cooking. And I believe this is a very proper spoken word piece because people often write and present something that is a passion of theirs with some sensuality, because as we know, in all things in life that are marketed to us, and spoken word poetry is essentially just kind of marketing our thoughts and feelings to other people, that sex sells. And when things are sensual, whether they are that on purpose or not, it grabs people's attention. right? And so if you're speaking a thing like you just did there, I think that is a great spoken word piece. Maybe you should try an open mic somewhere. Is anyone else here ready to share with us? Okay. If there is no one else, and I would like to ask Ms. Cotton if she would share, please and thank you.
You want me to share the things that I wrote about? I got distracted by fireflies, actually. That's where it took me. I went from not liking ironing and sort of railing against that to how the fireflies escaped that night, and I'm not sure if it was because I had knifed the lid of the pickle jar too hard and wedged an escape route, or if my mother had come to the room long past my sleep and released
Mm. So this is immediately after you're railing against ironing?
Yeah, there were sort of two events that took place in the same space, and one sort of reminded me of the other, and it was a love and a hate sort of side by side.
That's the best thing. When you can put both in the same space, I think you're winning. I think you are winning. So I would like, and I think, so that means we are past our 8 o'clock, quite a few minutes past 8 o'clock here. So I would like for all of us to take the things that we have written tonight, read them out loud again to yourself over the next day or two. Right? Don't go immediately back into your piece. I think a lot of too much too soon is always too much too soon, right? So take a little time to put some distance between who you are right now and who you will be on tomorrow. Take a reread of your piece out loud, because reading in your head is not the same as hearing it when you read it out loud. Right? Read your poetry out loud, and ask yourselves the questions. If I were hearing this from someone else, would it make sense? If someone else was speaking this, what questions would I have? And if someone else has questions while I'm speaking this, how do I answer them? Those 3 questions. Reread your poetry and see what you come up with. You may edit it into something that looks completely and thoroughly different from what you've written tonight. And you may look at it and go, this is gold. I'm not touching it. Right? That happens sometimes. So take some time away from the poem, come back to it tomorrow, maybe Sunday. Take another look at it, ask yourself some questions about it, get back into it. And if anyone would like to shoot me the poem, or by email, or maybe even another Zoom, I'll go ahead and put my email. Is that okay if I do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So my email in the chat, I'll put my email in the chat. If you would like to talk to me a little bit more about your spoken word piece, please feel free. Please feel free. Send me an email. If you want to set up some Zoom where we can actually have some critique, if you like, or if you just want an ear to hear it, just let me know. Thank you so much, you guys, for being here. Thank you for participating in this workshop with us. Thank you for inviting me. Spark Festival is, I can't really contain my joy in being asked to be a part of this. It's fantastic. Thank you. You guys have a great rest of your night, and I hope to hear from you very soon. If you're not already involved, whether you live in Birmingham or not, I'm just going to put this out here. There's a Facebook group called Birmingham Area Writers. Birmingham Area Writers. Go ahead and join that Facebook group, whether you live in Birmingham or not. Even if you don't live in the Southeast, join the group anyway, because all roads lead to Birmingham, right? Sooner or later, you'll be here. Yeah. Thank you guys again. You have a great night.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Voice. And to all of our participants, thank you for coming out. We have one more event for Spark, so we will wrap up tomorrow with a keynote conversation with Patty Callahan Henry. That's at 10 a.m. tomorrow, Central Time. So keep your same Zoom link. We'll all tune in then. But beyond that, y'all take care. Have a wonderful evening, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.